get into it. Joining me now is film critic and member of the Critics' Choice Association, Sheraz Farooqi. He's also the host of the Farooqi Bros podcast. So good to have you here. Talking about all of these reboots and, the second version of things. What do you think? I mean, the reaction of the sequels on the big screen. Some people are saying people are trying to make a quick buck, or is it because everybody loves these movies so much?
Yeah, we are definitely in the era of sequels, reboots, and remakes. And I think some of the blame goes to everybody. I think the studios know that, putting a familiar face in a familiar franchise that has built-in support will always kind of give you a head start to make money. And the audience themselves, they show up for those movies. I mean, you just showed some of the best, highest-grossing movies of the last year, and all of them have these existing IPs. And I think streaming kind of even pushes it further, where you have studios mining every single IP to the last drop to make sure they can get people in their seats. So I think ultimately, it's a mix of both things. People do love to see characters they know, but at the same time, we're losing some originality along the way, and it's causing a bit of a law of diminishing returns.
You think so? Because also, this happened last year. When we take a look at the list, we had this exact same scenario last year. Now we're getting into it. Do you think it's going to slow down, or are we hitting our limit here?
We're actually already seeing some of the slowdown happen. I'll give you an example with Jurassic Park, the newest movie that came out. Okay. Normally, this franchise makes $1 billion every single time. But right now, it's expecting to cap out around $800 million. So that's $200 million less than before. Even the same thing with Superman or Fantastic Four. They're performing well, but not quite at the level of the peak of their franchises. So I think we are seeing the audience get a little bit tired and fatigued by seeing the same franchises again and again. And even with Naked Gun coming out, it's going to do okay, but it's not going to do any gangbuster numbers either.
How was Naked Gun?
I thought it was all right. I think, it's fair to Midland. I think the original Leslie Nielsen movies will always kind of be the better ones, and that kind of speaks to my overall point that while there are some good moments here and there, ultimately we're seeing like a Half-Life syndrome of each of these movies just not having the same heart as the originals did.
Yeah, okay, so the numbers show us that people like these sequels and prequels, but do you think that the public is craving a little bit more originality? What do the numbers tell you? And I know that you have a podcast, so what are people saying?
Yeah, people are liking some original movies when they come up, but it's up to the studios to support and trust the filmmakers to make it. So for example, Sinners that came out earlier this year was one of the best grossing movies domestically, and it's a completely original movie. And then later this year, we're getting a sequel for Avatar that is based on an original product and it's not IP driven, and that's also going to expect to do really good numbers. So I think it's a matter of studios trusting. Right now, a lot of original movies are being kind of kept in a very low budget, kept in the film festival tier. We want to see those movies all get made into a bigger budget, because ultimately all these sequels we're seeing that are doing great numbers, originally they started out as original ideas. So we need more original ideas, otherwise we're going to be seeing, Toy Story 6, 7, and 8.
Oh boy. I'm going to date myself here. I used to work, remember Tower Records? I used to work at Tower Video in Sacramento. And so I remember people checking out the VHS and yes, even beta, coming in and checking out, the 1, 2, and 3 sequels when that happened. So, I mean, when we take a look at where we are now and what happens with streaming and the DVRs or DVDs and the Blu-rays, I mean, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, it's all kind of compounding on itself. So let's say for streaming, you might not see a direct sequel to a movie, but you're going to see a story about a side character that might end up becoming its own sequel series. And that over-mining of IP is something that I feel like is dangerous overall, because it's going to lead to people getting more and more fatigued, and ultimately they're going to give up on the product.
Can I ask you to explain that, over-mining IPs?
Yeah.
Describe what that is.
Yeah, so let's say, for example, let's take Superman. The movie just came out, is doing well at the box office. They actually announced that there's a Jimmy Olsen TV series coming out that's just about that one extra side character getting his own show. And I think ultimately, while there will be a bunch of diehards, including myself, who might be watching it, you want to appeal to the mass audience. You want to appeal to the widest group of people. And I think over time, if you keep milking a franchise to its absolute bare bones, you're going to end up getting people who are just going to get tired of it.
All right, last question really quick. If I had to see one movie this summer in theaters, what is it?
I still say it's Superman, honestly, but I'm also a big fan of Fantastic Four.
All right, Farooqi, thank you. Sheraz Farooqi, thank you very much for joining us in studio. We always appreciate it. Thank you. And before